you how to generate income in the markets, whether the markets are going up, down, or sideways.
There's people, their biggest concern, Blake, is I'm going to run out of money before I hit 90. What am I going to do? I mean, am I just going to survive my retirement, or do I want to thrive?
Tired of losing money in your mutual funds or 401ks just because the stock market goes down? Since 1997, Online Trading Academy has taught over 100,000 people the right way to trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex in a real classroom setting. See for yourself how money is made in down markets at a free half-day class at Online Trading Academy. Call to reserve a seat, 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. That's 561-674-9800.
Talk 1470 WWNN Pompano Beach, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470 WNN with more of what you need to know. Here are the latest from Invite Health with Jerry Hickey, weekdays at 9 on AM 1470 WNN.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
I had no idea how to find each other.
My husband kept the kids
tried
occupied.
Calling our son, but there was no reception. Everything was down. I felt like breaking
we handled
down and
everything
crying,
very
but
well.
I had to try and stay calm.
The whole experience was fine.
Was the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
It was kind of like a little family adventure.
Every mother hopes will never happen to her.
I remember
the
relief of being together.
I realized he was out there all alone.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Florida knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
What do you want to be when you're older?
Hold on, it's like a deep question.
When I'm older, I want to be a singer. That's my goal.
I'm not sure I want to invent the supercomputer, but I definitely want to build the supercomputer.
I want to be an inspiration.
An organizer of like do-gooders.
I want to be a veterinarian. I want to help out animals and work with them.
I want to be a media mogul. Just rule the world.
When I'm older, I want to be anything but the one that doesn't fit in, the one that people don't love.
Everyone deserves a dream.
Everyone.
But some of us are depressed,
anxious,
scared,
angry,
alone.
Don't feel like ourselves.
We can't even focus on the present, much less the future.
If that's you, say something.
It's okay to talk. It's okay to share. It's okay to get help or help someone.
Talk to someone. It helps. And people will listen. Add your voice at okaytotalk.org. okaytotalk.org.
Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown-up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is Talk 1470.
Talk
1470. WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Schub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Schub, and tonight, like we usually do at this time, we're going to talk a little golf, we're going to talk a little travel. We may change things up slightly here and there. I don't know, a lot of travel talk, I think, tonight, but a little golf. Well, I got a lot of deals for you as well. We always have Dan's deals, and a couple that involve golf, some that are domestic, some close to home here in Florida. A bunch of European, out-of-the-way places that you might want to escape to if you have Europe on your mind, and some great deals, really tremendous deals. And we do have a wonderful guest that we're going to be chatting with in just a few minutes. That would be Sharon Schweitzer, and she is a international etiquette expert and the founder of Protocol and Etiquette Worldwide, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about travel and how to behave properly, how to handle some of the issues that you may face while traveling. Recently, I've had some of those problems myself, and I certainly have, gotten a little bit upset about it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes. But usually in the beginning of the show, we do like to talk a little bit of golf, and of course, we're coming right off of the Masters, which was just an epic event, and not necessarily what I or anybody expected, but until our next major, which is, not for another month or so into the summer, month or two, I just wanted to talk a little bit about playing golf and where to play golf and getting back out there. Myself personally, I played in a tournament down here in Fort Lauderdale, or Davie, I should say, I guess about 6 weeks ago. Didn't play too good because I haven't been playing often. My back hurt. It was sore for a while, and I waited about 4 or 5 weeks. And last weekend, I went back out again and played, and can't say I played that much better. Did almost have an albatross. Almost put my second shot on a par 5 in the hole. Just came up a little bit short. But I came to the realization I have to play a little bit more. And I do have a bunch of travel coming up, too, so I'm trying to work some of the golf into my travel. So for that reason, I also tried to make sure that I got a couple of deals for all of you so that you can all perhaps start thinking about where you might want to go and play golf and where the good deals are this time of year. But I'm in the midst of making some plans to do some business as well as pleasure and research for the show here and for all of you. So I'm looking into playing a little bit of golf out in the desert, perhaps out in Phoenix. Maybe then I'm going to be heading up to the Sedona area, and they got some beautiful views and golf courses up there with the Red Rocks. Then from there I'm going to head up to Denver and maybe play a little bit of mountain golf. And the good news is all of these flights that I just booked are all on my favorite airline, Southwest. So I'm my odds, and that's part of my personal strategy. That, when you find that there are certain airlines or certain car rental companies that you have a really bad record with, or they have a really bad record with you, I'm trying hard to stick with the folks that are taking better care of me. And the realization that even if it costs a couple of dollars more, sometimes it's worth it for the aggravation and the time saved. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But being that I do have so many of my deals for you, I wanted to make sure to just throw a couple of them out there. And, you know, like I said earlier in the show, some of these are going to be close by and some a little bit further away. And I had mentioned that one place that I'm heading towards is the Phoenix area, and a place that I have not stayed at, but I did double check and triple check all the reviews to make sure that it's good. I don't like to share anything unless I'm fairly sure or have firsthand knowledge. But this is a place that I may end up staying at in the Scottsdale, Arizona area. And the price of the special is special. I found it on TravelZoo. It was also on Jet Setters and Gilt and some of these other sites that also have some deals out there, and they all often have similar deals. I always say TravelZoo, that's my favorite go-to kind of place. But this place is called the Wecopa Resort and Conference Center, and it's actually just a little bit outside of the Scottsdale area, right towards the mountains, beautiful mountain views and nice rooms and a casino right next door. It's an Indian casino, but they have all, you know, not just slots, but all table games as well. And highly reviewed, 4 diamonds on AAA. And granted, this is the time of year when it's a little bit hot out in Arizona, so this is from May through August. It includes weekends. They do have 2 highly rated golf courses on premises out there. You know, for typical desert kind of golf, the greens are a little bit hard and a little bit fast and difficult. And, you know, it's desert golf. It's a little different than we're used to here in Florida or perhaps up in the Northeast. But the price normally runs about $200 or $250 a night or so. And with this deal this time of year, it's only $79 a night. And usually there's a resort fee of $20. That's going to be waived. Plus they throw in $10 of casino slot play too. And I did take a look, and there are a couple of dates that are blacked out, like July 4th, for instance, or a couple other days here and there throughout May and June. But for the most part, it's readily available. So $79 to stay at a beautiful resort that has a casino and 2 highly rated golf courses with other highly rated golf courses in the area. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So I reached out to some of my friends out there. So I may decide to stay here or maybe not. We'll have to see. Another place that I have stayed at recently, and I just heard from them. They wrote to me with this deal, and it just, to me, it just made sense because this weekend is the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head. Beautiful golf course, just a nice part of the country there in the water, and not too far from the Charleston area, which is a beautiful city that I just love to visit, love to stay at. Great food, great drink. But over towards the coast is a place called Wild Dunes that I recently had the opportunity to stay at. And they've got a little hotel there called the Boardwalk Inn. And they also do have other condos and other kinds of facilities, so if you have a larger group. But they have a deal going on for the months, the rest of April and into May, whereby some rates start as little as $99 for some days. Other days are $129 and some are $149. But still, beautiful, beautiful property, a nice pool area, good restaurant on premises, right there at the beach, wonderful golf. So if you're looking for an opportunity to play some golf and get away, and what I did when I went there is I spent a couple of nights in Charleston as well, so kind of mixed a little bit of a city and a little bit of a golf and an oceanfront vacation together. So Wild Dunes is where you want to go to check this out. You can go to, let's see, I'm assuming it's wilddunes.com. I'm not sure, though, but give them a Google. Wild Dunes. That's just an excellent, excellent deal. Here's another place a little bit closer to home that I also stayed at. Now, I stayed here a couple of years back when it was brand new, but from what I understand, it's still an excellent property. And this is the Florida Gulf Coast Hyatt. And again, found on TravelZoo. So this is in the Bonita Springs area. It's only about 20 miles from downtown Naples and similar distance from Fort Myers, so you got a little bit of action on either side of you. But this is more of a beachfront resort with golf included and a nice spa. It was an excellent 18-hole championship caliber golf course. I recall playing it with this package, which you do have to book by April 22nd, so you got to hurry up. But the resort fee is also waived, which is nice. And depending upon the dates that you pick throughout May, June, and July, they start at $179. Some go as high as $199 for their basic rooms. Ones that aren't on sale are just a little bit over $200. But this is a really nice resort. And most Hyatts are, of course, and beautiful pool area, and just a great place for a weekend getaway if you're here in Florida, or of course if you're listening to us streaming perhaps at our website www.nnradio.com or at iHeartRadio if you're up in the Northeast and you're looking to get down to Florida. Remember, the folks who come down like Christmas time, you pay so much more. The weather isn't always all that good, and the weather up north as well in the summer can be kind of hot and humid, so you may as well take advantage of these special prices and good deals. Your money will go much, much further if you do. Now, I did want to just briefly talk a little bit about my situation, and I'm running a little bit short of time, but I had spoken a while back about an issue I had with American Airlines where they kind of bumped me off a plane on purpose and lied to me about it, and I wasn't too happy. And then I recently heard another story about a woman who was taking her kids to Disney, and after about 12 hours of delays and lies, she got upset, and that was American Airlines as well. So having that firsthand and hearing about it, I just wanted to investigate a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with our guest, Sharon Schweitzer, and she's an international etiquette expert, and she has some really good advice for those difficult situations that I've faced and this other woman faced, and it kind of went viral. So what you want to do is stay tuned for more of the Golf and Travel Show, because you're going to learn something that's probably going to help you out. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back in time for a quick message from our sponsor, Labor Finders. If your business needs industrial workers, or if you're looking for work, you got to call Labor Finders, because Labor Finders places for temporary or for temporary to hire opportunities for skilled, semi-skilled, or general labor positions such as plumbers, electricians, concrete workers, forklift operators, office clerical workers, and much more. Labor Finders has almost 200 offices nationwide. Near here in Boca Raton, they have offices in Homestead, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and Jupiter. So if you need legal, insured, hard workers, or if you would like to work, give Labor Finders a call, toll free at 800-864-7749. That's 800-864-7749, or visit laborfinders.com.
Sakes, look at her walk, she really makes them blue jeans talk. I can't take my eyes off of her. She sure put together right. I wish I may, I wish I might get her to play in my backyard tonight. Yes, sir. If I had a swing like that.
And we are back, and I wish I had a swing. I'm telling you, the way I've been playing, my swing just ain't right. But in any event, traveling for golf, traveling for business, it can be difficult. And like I said, there's ways to kind of deal with it, and you're not going to change fate. You're not going to change weather. You're not going to change the airlines and their lying ways. But you may learn a way to deal with it a little bit better, and to investigate how perhaps we can save your next trip and provide a little peace of mind. We've got our next guest, and she's an international etiquette expert, founder of Protocol and Etiquette Worldwide, and that would be Sharon Schweitzer. Sharon, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, because some people like myself, we really need the help.
Well, I am happy to help. I've traveled quite a bit, 7 continents and over 60 countries, so let me know how I can help.
So first, why don't we just get a little bit of background about what you typically do when you're not focusing on travel, because, in reading a little bit about your background, you have an interesting job and an interesting profession that, maybe many people didn't even know existed. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you typically are doing?
Well, I'm a cross-cultural consultant, and I'm also an international etiquette expert. I practiced law for about 15 years. I did labor and employment law, so I helped mediate and resolve cultural differences in the workplace. So I do a lot of training for corporations and for universities and technology companies.
Well, I got to tell you, when I'm not here doing this radio show, I'm in the corporate world and dealing with a lot of attorneys and HR issues. So there's a big need for that, and it's a tough job. So I can understand why perhaps you might enjoy talking about travel and doing some other things than employment law.
That's right, because all of those litigation depositions, those are just not fun, Dan, and I find it far more fun to conduct training and help people get along and do deals. It's just a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable.
It seems to me that you should never be worrying about where your next work is going to be, because I don't know how long people have been asking that question, why can't we all just get along? But it seems that it's endless, the amount of people that you can talk to and try and help getting along.
That's right. And, that's the thing. Manners and etiquette are all about other people being comfortable in your presence and getting along well. Because the more we get along, the more people want to spend time around you, and the easier it is to go through life every day.
So let's talk a little bit more about travel and air travel. And I briefly alluded to a situation that I had where I truly felt that the airlines was lying to me and about 7 other people on a flight. And it eventually got ugly because it was bad. There was weather involved, but it was the lying that was the problem. And now it seems, again, there's this woman who was taking her kids to Disney, and it ended up on Inside Edition I saw the other night. And, she said, listen, I understand there's weather. I understand there's problems. It's the lying that really got her upset. So first of all, we're expected, of course, to behave properly, and we all should, and it's better for everybody. But what about the airlines themselves? I mean, is there a proper etiquette that perhaps, or could they do a better job, which is what American Airlines said way after the fact? But let's talk about them first before we talk about the passengers.
Well, yes, there are some how-tos of customer service. And, whether you're the desk agent or the flight attendant that's delivering the message to hundreds of passengers, whether it's 7 passengers or 700 passengers, it's really important that they deliver the news, and they deliver the news honestly and with integrity, because you're going to have frustrations, and you're going to be receiving news, and it needs to be done in a way that's respectful and that's done honestly. So, of course, safety comes first, but you also have to be respectful, because customer service is all about ensuring that the people, the patrons of the business, are happy and that they're satisfied with the service or the product. So, this experience has to be authentic for the customers, and the customers need to be treated with respect. So, you've also got to value the customer relationship, because let's face it, the business of air service and transporting passengers is about the business of people.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about another bad experience a couple of years back, and that was with Spirit. I'll mention them by name. And we were having problems. We were stuck on a tarmac for several hours, 100 yards or so from the gate, and the pilot was lying to everybody, and I was sitting in the last row, and the flight attendants were commenting about how the pilot was lying to everybody, and riots almost broke out, and the same thing happened that time with American Airlines. The police were called. It gets really bad. And, so I don't know. It seems it has to be a two-way street, and now some of the airlines, I think it's coming from the top down, because it's consistent on every single flight the way the employees behave, and so many of them now are offering better snacks and better food, and it's like, just tell us the truth, that's all we want. Just treat us like humans, and that's why I tend to fly on Southwest, because they treat me like a human. in spite of that whole cattle car thing that they're accused of behaving like from a long time ago. But, we want to be treated like humans. So now let's turn the tables a little bit. And so the folks that are flying and the people that are getting bad news and the thunderstorms are breaking out and the delays are starting to happen, how are passengers supposed to behave or interact with the employees of, say, airlines or hotels or wherever they are where there's a problem, or fellow passengers and travelers?
Okay. Dan, I'm happy to do that. I do want to give you two disclaimers. First of all, I'm platinum on American Airlines, and I'm on Southwest.
I'm so sorry.
I'm an A-list member. I'm an A-list flyer. I think the one thing that I didn't make clear is when you're communicating unwanted news to an entire terminal of passengers, one of the things, there are two things. Number one, I think that the airlines should be as clear and direct as possible because they don't want to have to re-clarify and keep delivering more bad news to angry ears. So they need to give concrete reasons as to why they're having some unwanted consequences. And if it's a mechanical failure, they need to tell people it's mechanical, it's not weather. Mm-hmm. And number two, I know many airlines have reimbursement or compensation that they provide, and they also think, American does this, Southwest does this, a number of Frontier does this, a number of airlines provide this. And so they need to be able to have that ready, and so the customers can see that they're taking the perspective of the customer seriously. And I know that they've come up with new guidelines for this recently.
Yeah, there's some sort of like Bill of Rights of some sorts that it seems that most people aren't all that aware of, and many of the airlines won't tell you if you're not smart enough to know what's due to you to ask for.
Well, I know that customer Bill of Rights is very common and very frequent. One of the things that is really crucial is when there's weather, passengers don't always realize it's safety first. So, when you're at the airport and there's either a mechanical or weather, the passengers need to realize that it is safety first. And that is crucial, and especially right now when we're on a heightened alert, because right now, after what's happened recently in Brussels with the international airport attack, there are recent security breaches across the globe, and it is imperative to be a good passenger because any airline can bar a passenger from entering the plane and have them escorted from the airport if there's a threat, a conversation, or an action that's deemed inappropriate. So it's up to us as passengers to make sure that our behavior is, AAA, blue chip at all times, because if it's not, they're going to say, hey, you know what, we don't like how you're behaving, and they're going to not let us board a flight. And so if it's, a normal time under normal conditions, that's one thing. But right now we're under heightened security, and so they're really watching everything in terms of how the passengers behave. And I know that's what you want to talk about next.
Yeah, well, I just want to comment briefly on that, though, too, because I've been obviously on flights where there were mechanical problems, where there were bad weather. When they are honest and they make the appropriate announcements in a timely manner, people are definitely disappointed, but they're not angry and they don't riot. When they're lied to or when information isn't delivered promptly, that's when they start to get angry. But I think most people that I travel with, at least, are smart enough to know that safety is first, and they just want the honest truth, and nobody wants to take a chance with safety. So I think everybody kind of respects that. Another thing, what you had mentioned was about the safety and security, something that I've come to the realization about. I used to be that guy that would run down the tarmac to jump on my plane, cutting it as close as I could. And as I got a little older and a little wiser and there, with security being what it is I leave a lot more time and I go and I just have my breakfast or my lunch or whatever at the airport and relax and make sure that I'm there early. And that stress level for me is really important to not be running for planes anymore. Yeah,
that stress level is, that is so difficult. It's such a bummer to have to run for a plane. It's no fun. So trying to get to the airport at least 2 hours early, go to the lounge, go get a cup of coffee, go get a bite to eat. It's really easier to get there early. And the other thing that I encourage people to do when you travel, whether you're, a sky warrior or not, is come prepared. You know, bring the meditation coloring books, come with magazines, bring your music in a headphone, and just be prepared with some projects. And if you don't, want to bring your work with you, bring some other things along. Bring some entertainment options to ease those long periods of waiting. And the other thing I tell people is expect delays. Things are going to happen. In addition to just technical difficulties and storms, there are also medical landings that happen. Planes get diverted. So, getting angry and frustrated, it just saps our energy. So it really helps if you have something to